This is my spoiler review on A Quiet Place Day 1. Check out part 1 for my quick spoiler-free review on if you should watch it. Also, don't worry, I won't spoil anything about the first two films, just in case you have yet to see them. Just like before, 3 is incredible, -3 is garbage, 0 is Let's get to it. For personal enjoyment, I give it a 2 out of 3. I was stressed for the majority of the film, and also I cried. What I loved about the first two films is that the horrific world of sound-hunting aliens is merely a tool used to explore the core of both films, family. Each film had great tension, atmosphere, and moments of gripping fear. But in the end, it was all about these characters, their relationships to each other, and themselves. A Quiet Place Day 1 is the same. In this case, a woman with cancer coming to terms with her final days and how she chooses to spend them before her time runs out. It just so happens that aliens sensitive to sound have invaded where she is. This is where my personal bias comes into play. I found myself really invested in Lupita's character and the tragedy of her circumstances. I was cheering for each stolen second of time that her character was able to take. That's me though. My girlfriend actually found herself less invested in Lupita's story. I can imagine that some viewers might not care about a slice of pizza, that they might lose any semblance of urgency if we already know all of this just leads to her inevitable death anyways. A Quiet Place Day 1 shines as a character-driven journey, but as a horror film, it's a little lackluster and safe. For film language, I give it a 1 out of 3. The film used its horror assets efficiently, bringing tension to an otherwise simple and safe plot, with an outstanding performance from Lupita in a character-driven film. A good film will choose one of two things: to either go full no explanation with, this is just how it works and we won't ever know why and won't ever try explaining it, or they'll choose to be meticulous with the details to explain how it works, making sure there are no gaping plot holes or logical inconsistencies. The biggest problem with the entire Quiet Place films is that they didn't quite commit to either one. Visualize a scene. In it, a bomb is about to explode. In one version of this scene, you see a person eating, and 1 minute later, the bomb explodes. This might scare you because of the abrupt sound and sudden change, but you didn't feel any tension. In another version, you see the same person eating, but every now and then you see the bomb counting down to 0. In this scene, you're tense, hoping that they avoid the explosion. This is caused by the sense of urgency you gained from the knowledge of impending danger. The Quiet Place is basically a ticking bomb that ticks down whenever our characters face a situation where loud sound is difficult to prevent or avoid. That's the cheat code A Quiet Place has for unlimited tension. And if this were removed, the entire film becomes less because of it. Another thing that made the first film stand out was the mystery of what happened to the world. We didn't really know how the aliens worked. We didn't really know what they looked like until the very end. And we were constantly jumping at every noise, questioning if that one sound would be the one that killed you. Unfortunately, A Quiet Place Day 1 isn't as horrifying or scary as its predecessors, but it is immensely stressful. It's only as innovative and bold as a third film in a franchise could reasonably be expected to be. It benefited from being set in this universe, but it didn't really bring much of anything to the franchise. To compensate for the lack of mystery, they introduced 2 new factors: a pet cat and a city known for being loud and full of people, which gave a slight spin to the cheat-coded tension. Lupita's acting is almost always the highlight of every film she's in, and A Quiet Place Day 1 is no exception. Okay. Watching a character grasp for her childhood comfort before she dies in a world that's ending is only as endearing as the character that's searching for it. This story wouldn't work without Lupita's performance. In addition to that, Joseph Quinn manages to not only keep up with Lupita, but also bring a strong and empathetic character as her co-star. Both leads bring a weight to the film that allows itself to sit with the emotional turmoil that doesn't dissipate with each scare. I really appreciated the tender and thoughtful themes despite the grim world of the film, with the kindness of strangers who, when alone, found solace in helping one another, along with the bittersweet determination of someone with no time left, desperately fighting for the last little bit of comfort they can grab before dying on their own terms. What a brilliant writing choice to have the strangers be complete opposites. Someone new to the country with no ties, family, or memories in it, who had a bright future ahead of him, bumping into someone whose family passed with only cherished memories of the city she was raised in. The contrast between them and their circumstances made the choices to help each other all the more meaningful. Some rapid-fire thoughts. The sound design is impeccable. They really know what they're doing to build tension with every creak, breath, and meow. I found Frodo the cat adorable, and I was holding my breath every time he was near danger. But his uncanny ability to survive an alien impact, find his humans despite the calamity, and not meowing, growling, or hissing stressed my suspension of disbelief. But maybe being a service animal gave Frodo his edge? Seriously, that was a god-tier cat because neither Louis or Alexa would survive. Speaking of disbelief, the logical inconsistencies of the aliens reduced the quality of the film's writing, as they consistently stayed inconsistent in following their established rules. For example, right at the end, a can being knocked over is enough to get all the aliens' attention despite the dozens of car alarms and explosively loud destruction caused by the aliens themselves. Fortunately, the film's emotional core is so strong that it overshadows these flaws just enough for me to ignore them. My favorite scene in the second film was the portrayal of Day One, and I was looking forward to this film because of it. But I kinda wanted more of the actual Day One. It felt like a missed opportunity having Sam lose consciousness, only to wake up with others who figured out that the aliens were enraged by sound. I would have loved to see our main character piece that together themselves and experience the discovery of the world's rules with them, rather than being told. I believe any disappointment people might face will be because their expectations of wanting Day One to build upon the universe, explore the aliens, or ramp up the stakes won't be met. Are you one of them? Let me know your thoughts on these. Ask me questions, tell me your favorite scenes, let's discuss this movie in the comments. Also tell me what movie you'd like me to review next. To summarize my thoughts, I would say that this was a really good film in isolation, and I'm tempted to say that this film could have been elevated if it were separate from the franchise itself. The final score is a 1.5 out of 3. For film recommendations, if you enjoyed the tension of the Quiet Place films, you may enjoy the first Don't Breathe. If you want a film with a bittersweet story in a horror-like setting, you'll love Parasite. And if you're someone who saw Day One before the other Quiet Places, then you'll probably enjoy watching those two films. Go watch A Quiet Place Day One yourself to form your own opinion, and I'll see you on my next film review.